Hello everyone, we're back. Yeah, so today we got a kind of a mixed bag on this job. One semi-large, it's a very tall tree, very dead tree. It's an oak tree. That is going to be our removal. And then, like I said, it's kind of a mixed bag because we have a lot of pruning to do. And as well, we're going to be doing an aerial inspection. So I'll probably show you guys a little bit of the pruning, and then I'll take you up in the tree. I want to do the aerial inspection myself. We're going to be checking the cable, and whenever you inspect a tree, typically there's some area of concern. So for this tree, there's a back lead that's declining in health. It's an oak tree, very large oak tree, but it seems like the main central leader's kind of dying back a little bit. So we'll see if it's something that maybe they need to address, or if it's getting too old to kind of feed up the tips of itself. But yeah, let's go check it out. Oh, and also for my arborist nerds, large mature trees like that, it is a common sign of retrenchment sometimes if they tend to die from the top down. Basically, for those of you that don't know, the process of retrenchment is a tree grows to be so large that at some point it cannot provide energy or food for itself in the highest parts, and so it kind of starts reducing its size, and those tips will die, and kind of bring itself back a little bit so it's more manageable for it to provide food for the parts of itself. But yeah, just wanted to give a little quick fact there for some of you that might be interested in that. All right, so check this out. This is what I got. I'm doing this river birch here, kind of updating some house clearance, and then knocking out some dead wood, which doesn't have a whole lot, but just gonna clear it from the house a little more. All this stuff that grew since the last time we were here, and some of those lower stubs that died out there, gonna cut those out. And then the boys over there doing that magnolia tree and the red bud over there, some crown cleans, clearance, stuff like that. Oh, there it is. Alright, so this is what we're dealing with here. This oak kind of looks like a white oak. I'll have to double check on that on the leaves. But yeah, you can tell it's been pruned previously. There's a cut over here. And as you can see, a lot of dieback on the tips, which is not a good sign because those leads look pretty big to be dying out. But again, they start from the tips. It's not like entire leads are dead, right? It's from the very top down, it's coming down, which for a tree this big, this mature, is a good sign that it might be retrenchment, you know, just getting a little too big to be able to support itself. So it's reducing its size. Good sign here. We still have green color in the leaves. Always a really good sign. You do have a lot of decay. This tree has sustained a lot of damage, so I can already see one large lead right there that had broken out, and you can actually see some of that wound wood where it's trying to heal. Looks like they made an improper cut here, which never healed properly, so it was cut into the branch collar there, which is not good. But if you take a look on the surrounding wounds there of the limbs that have been cut or torn off, you can actually see some callus tissue, which is a really good sign for the tree. It means it's responding the way it should. Only major defects along the base is this right here, this decay, which probably extends further in. But again, if you take a look, it's taken energy to actually try to close off those wounds. This one, I doubt it did a proper job. That decay probably has already ran through the inside, and you can tell this is all coming apart. I can actually stick my finger in there, which is not a good sign, especially along the base here. Big trees like this can get that basal rot. Again, you know, we have another wound here, some more wound wood, kind of trying to seal off that wound here. But we'll see how that top looks. Overall, the base here, nothing too crazy, at least for a tree this big. You can actually tell there was some sort of split here where it's healed over, but that is very visible, and there's a whole line of a crack running up through that. So potentially that could have been a codom that grafted into one. But yeah, we'll go up there and inspect the canopy now. Okay, so we're up here. Let's take a look at stuff around here. Again, old pruning cuts, sealing over, always a good sign. Here's one that's almost closed. There's another one. But as you can see, pretty significant dieback. These two large leads here, this one and this one, no live foliage on it. This one probably died this season. It's still got some leaves attached, so it's been kind of receding back. But as you can see, this is still healthy, green and alive. You have your standard deadwood on these. That's just typical of any tree, really. But good live growth. Looks like something's been munching on these leaves. But overall, like we talked about, just with mature trees, I think this is just a healthy sign that this tree's getting a little too big. Probably spending a lot of energy trying to close off a lot of these old wounds, so it no longer can support some of these outer limbs, and therefore it's kind of bringing itself back naturally, which is what trees do when they get to this size. Now, something to note, some people might be scared or nervous of trees like this, and I think it's our duty and job as arborists to educate them that the benefit of trees this large outweigh sometimes the risk. So, you know, as an arborist, I think our job is preservation, which we should be thinking how to save the tree, not just remove it just because we see a lot of big dead wood. Especially trees like this, they've been growing for so long. Getting rid of a tree this big, like, it's gonna take years for something else to grow this big, right? So the more that we can save, the better. And, you know, people can continue to enjoy its benefits for years to come until eventually the tree does die, because trees will die with time. They're just like any living thing, you know, they have a certain time frame that they're gonna live. But with that being said, you know, our job as arborists, if this doesn't pose an immediate risk to anybody, we can say, hey, look, we can mitigate the risk by cutting off the deadwood, and we can still keep the tree and just kind of watch it over time. If it continues to decline in health, and at that point it becomes a higher risk, then that's probably where we say, you know what, it's time to remove it. But I'd say for a tree this large, we should try to do anything we can to try and save it. And the signs that I'm seeing don't necessarily say remove. Now we'll continue to inspect the canopy a little bit higher just to make sure. We got to check a cable that's in the middle there too, just to see how well that's holding up and how well it's sealed over. But overall, I mean, aside from the large deadwood, it looks pretty healthy, in my opinion at least. So it looks like there's 2 cables. Yeah. So this is an old setup actually. You don't really see too many people use this system, at least from what I've seen. The more popular systems are J-lag and rig eye systems for cabling. But this is an aim and die setup. So you drill a hole straight through, a large rod, and then some nuts on either side, so you can see there. And then your aim and die on the end here, where your cable with the dead end grip wraps is gonna go, and the thimble and all that good stuff. So we're gonna test to see how tight those cables actually are. But honestly, looking at it, it looks like it's I mean, decay hasn't ran through the lead, which is a good sign. Taking a look at this other one, I can't even see the other end on it. Oh, that's a J-lag actually, so that's the other system right there. We'll take a look at the tightness of that as well. Right, here's the upper canopy as well. So you can see there's some poison ivy on there. That's not good. Oh, look at that. There's a third cable actually over there on that end, running down from there down somewhere. It's a really bad angle in my opinion, but I guess they wanted to support that limb, even though they did do the end weight reduction, I suppose. But yeah, let's go test out the how tight those cables are. this looks to have sealed over pretty well.
Yeah, that cable is...
Yeah, not too bad. This one's not too bad either. They're not too tight.
No,
I don't think they're that old. Maybe recent installations, maybe a couple years. But I think that's probably a sign too that the trees stopped growing. So typically old cables tend to get tight just because the leads continue to grow further out. But again, mature tree probably stopped growing. Yeah. I think based on everything we've seen, guys, this is definitely a tree that I would try to save, especially with how mature and big it is. I think as long as the homeowners are aware of the risk and we mitigate the risk, which the high risk right now is the deadwood, that would probably solve the issues, at least for now. That is if they want to keep it, you know, but some people are not okay with those risks, and that's perfectly fine too. That's why we get paid to remove trees. But at least for me as an arborist, I'd like to save this tree if I can, and I think it is possible with some risk mitigation and constant supervision. That's good, we can fell it.